Jason Calacanis of the Launch Conference. Let's give a big, warm round of applause. Woo!
Hey, thanks, Adele. Microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Turn me off. Hey, everybody. Good morning. How many people here are angel investors or investors in startups? Raise your hand. Wow, that's a lot. Like literal cash investors, not like I'm a mentor. Who's a cash investor? Got it, okay. Just want to make sure. A lot of that going around these days. I'm an investor in startups. And I say, oh, really? What's the last startup you invested in? It's like, oh, well, my cousin had something in '99. No, you're not actually an investor. How many people here are the mentors in the program? Great. And then how many people here are founders of companies currently? Okay, wow. So a lot of you are doing 3 different things. Way to stay focused, people. Like I'm one to talk. So my name is Jason Calacanis. I am an entrepreneur, angel investor, and a writer. And of course, anytime Adeo asks me to come speak, I do it because Adeo's wonderful, indefatigable, rabid entrepreneur who really is in it for the right reasons, which is to support founders and inspire them to innovate. So I'm always very pleased to come to anything he does because it's really the most raw and closest to the street program, I think, in the world, which is he gives people a chance who other people would not. And so I think for that reason, we all owe a big round of applause to Adeo. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I think it takes to succeed today in the space as an angel investor and as a founder. And I'm going to base that largely on what I learned in my 5 years as an angel investor and 20 years as an entrepreneur. I wasn't born an angel investor. I just started doing that in the last 5 years of my career. And I'm going to talk a little bit as well about maybe building your ecosystem in your country. How many people are based outside of the Bay Area? Who's based outside of the Bay Area? Great. It's almost all of you. So I think that's an important thing to think about. I've really been thinking about what has made me arguably top 5 angel investor in history. Luck, being in the right place at the right time, being a compulsive gambler who likes to take massive amounts of risks with large sums of money. All of these things, I think. There's a lot of luck involved in it. But I learned a lot of my lessons the hard way. And the biggest mistakes I've made were thinking, or the biggest mistakes I made were at the times I thought that I was smart. Angel investing is not about being smart. It's about suspending disbelief. It's about thinking when you hear an idea about the possibility, slim as it may be, that it could work. And when you look at these young companies, typically 1 or 2 people with very little traction and very awkward products, it's extremely easy to make a long list of why something would not work. In fact, it's almost impossible to conceive of the greatest companies in the last 10 or 20 years actually working. And I'll go through some of them, and I'll tell you some of the actual conversations that happened because I was there. And I was friends with some of those CEOs and founders, and I either invested in them or passed on investing in them. So what I'm telling you is not something I read in a Medium post. This is something that, I actually was sitting there with the founder. And the first one I'll tell you is a friend of mine who had built a couple of failed social networks and felt very awkward about his position in Silicon Valley. He would say to me when we were in Tahoe at his ghetto house that was, had the old bed linens and just completely disheveled, I don't think people in Silicon Valley take me seriously enough. Now, this person was a millionaire at the time and sold a company, taking a company public. But he felt like he hadn't had that big success. He was, I wouldn't say bitter about it, but definitely frustrated. And he said, can we get some Thai food the next time you're here from LA. I want to talk to you about poker because I know that you're a poker player. I said, sure, I'll come talk to you about poker. And we had Thai food in Potrero. And I said, or thereabouts. And he said, well, here's my idea. Are you aware of virtual currency? I said, yeah, like in China, and, people buy and sell stuff on Warcraft and the karma and the points. And he said, yeah, exactly. I want to do that for poker. And the idea being, I was talking to Zuck, and he is going to introduce gaming to the platform. They have this app platform they're adding to Facebook. And so I got this guy who's working for me, and he made a poker game that you can play on Facebook. And my question for you is, number one, are you interested in investing? Number two, do you think people will play poker for virtual coins? And I said, Mark, I am a high-stakes poker player. I have been playing poker for close to a decade. Nobody will ever play poker for virtual coins. It is the antithesis of everything poker is about. Poker is about having some real stake. There has to be money in play. Because if not, people will just bluff all the time. There's no value to the coins. And if you can't get any value in winning, only an idiot, only an incredibly stupid person would pay for virtual coins. It's idiotic. Do something more interesting with your life, Mark, because this will fail. And he said, well, if it works, and we think there's other things we can do, other game mechanics, and I'm going to name it after Zynga, my dog. And my dog, Toro, rest in peace, and Zynga used to play together. Zynga was an amazing dog, by the way. Zynga was there. Mark would park Zynga outside of a bar or a restaurant, say, Zynga, sit. Wouldn't tie Zynga up. Amazing dog. Go inside, we'd have drinks, whatever. We'd come out, Zynga would be sitting there. So when you see that dog, he loved that fucking dog, man. It was the greatest, my dog Toro was the greatest dog ever, but Zynga was a close second. And of course, that was a $50 million mistake. $50 million mistake. So I look back on that and say, hey, I know I'm not the smartest kid in the class. I had a 71 three-year average at Severian High School in Brooklyn. In fact, they told me, you're not the smartest kid in the class. You're kind of the dumb kid in class. And what's really frustrating about you, Jason, is you're incredibly bright and tenacious, and you don't apply yourself. Therefore, you're doubly stupid, because there's stupid people in this school who get 71-year averages, and you have potential and you have a 71-year average, which just makes you a fucking complete loser. I mean, that's literally what they told me in high school. And they started to think I was smart, and what I realized was, gosh, you can really overthink these things. You can really start to think that you know. Shortly after that, my friend said, hey, I got a killer idea. This podcasting thing I'm doing, thanks for your help on it, it's not working. I said, I think you should keep working on that. He goes, can we have brunch? I said, of course, we'll have brunch. We're good friends, we'll have brunch. Go to brunch. He says, okay, here's the idea. Let me have your BlackBerry. I hand my BlackBerry, bold, to my friend. He says, I'm going to text 70707. And you're going to join. You type join at Jason. And then I'm going to text 7077 that I'm having Eggs Benedict. And then I'm going to text that Biz is having the pancakes. And then you're going to text that you're having the huevos rancheros. And our phones proceed to ding, ding, ding. And look, everybody's got the message. I said, why the fuck do I care what Biz Stone is having for brunch? Why would I care? He's like, well, it's kind of like blogging, but you just get these real-time updates. I said, well, where's the blog post? There's no link to the blog post. And he said, no, that's it. That's the whole message. I said, wait a second. You're going to create a service in which people, and you're calling this microblogging, where people send a poorly formed 140-character headline, waste my time with a headline that has no payoff with a blog post? Evan, do you realize every idiot is going to use this all day long and share the stupidest shit on the planet. And then they're going to fight with each other over dumb shit that doesn't matter, and they're not going to even do it in complete sentences. I would never invest in something as inane and stupid and embarrassing as Twitter. Go do something more interesting with your life, Evan. And Biz, you're following him, so you're even stupider. This is not going to work. No, I would not want to invest in Twitter. It's a $100 million mistake. Price is going up. So then my friend said, hey, can I show you what I'm working on? And I said to Travis, can I invest? He said, yeah, do you want to know what it is? I said, no. So I really want your advice. I said, okay. Takes out his phone. He says, look, you see that cab? I said, yeah, the yellow cab right there. He goes, yeah, that's a Lincoln Town Car. I said, if it's a fucking Lincoln Town Car, why is it yellow? And why are you calling this Uber cab if it's a Lincoln Town Car? It should be Uber Lincoln Town Car, Uber Black or something. He's like, yeah, forget about that. We can't get the Uber name. It's owned by this music, Warner Music owns it. We can't get it. But I said, we can't get Uber. I said, well, let me go talk to them. I'll try and get it. And if you do drop the cab from it, can I get credit for that? Because, they got, Sean Parker got a whole fucking scene in The Social Network for dropping the "the." When we make the movie about Uber, can I get credit for that? He said, yeah, but Saka's going to go buy the domain. He's already on it. He's going to get it for us. And yeah, but I'll give you credit in the movie. We'll see if I get credit for it. And that was the mistake that makes up for the previous two. My point in telling this story is that I have come to a rule, which I'll call I'll humbly call Jason's rule of angel investing, which is I don't need to know if the idea is going to work. I need to know if the founder is going to win. I don't actually need to know. And the reason for this is smart people who execute at a high level will figure it out. Smart people executing at a high level who are passionate about the idea will figure it out. Or they will fail and learn something incredible, go on a surfing vacation, and come back with just salt in their wound, and then take more of my money and then figure it out. Either of those two. And this has led to me becoming, arguably, like I said earlier, one of the top 5 or 10 angel investors of all time. I'm currently the most active. And I'm increasing my activity because I have figured it out. I know I can invest. 1 out of 50 companies, 1 out of 100 will become a unicorn because I have the formula. You have to figure out first, is this project personally meaningful to the person who is doing it? Because most days that it's an entrepreneur are not fun. Y'all raise your hand that you're entrepreneurs. How many people had a shitty day in the last week? Great, thank you for proving my point. How many people popped champagne corks in the last 2 weeks and said, oh my God, everything is so fucking perfect, this couldn't be going better. Raise your hand if it's so fucking perfect, nothing could be going better. Congratulations, go fuck yourself. I'd like to talk to you later about your next round of funding, but fuck you, seriously. No, it's brutal when, it's brutal. Every day, more brutal than the last. That's what you're in for. If you don't pick an idea that you love, what happens? You wake up one day and you say, why am I getting punched in the face day after day working on something that is not appealing to me, that is stupid, that I don't care about, that I did just for the money? That's been the last 3 or 4 years in this town because it's tourist season. Anybody go to that small town, the Hamptons, or you go to Hawaii and you're a fucking tourist and you're annoying? That's the last 3 years of our industry. It's the summer, it's Christmas, everybody in Kauai is going, when will these people get the hell out of here? Because you're annoying. Yes, you've come to Hawaii. Yes, thank you for saying mahalo and kokua over and over again to me. Get out. You're really annoying everybody. There's too much traffic. That's the last 3 or 4 years of this business. Too many people coming in here to try to build the next Twitter, Zynga, Uber, Facebook, but they're not actually passionate and they don't deeply care about the idea. This is the ultimate tell. When I meet with a founder, I say, why are you doing this? It was crystal clear, crystal clear, with all of the big winning companies, that the founder absolutely cared very deeply about the idea. You do not get to a unicorn outcome ever by accident or with a founder who is not absolutely, relentlessly passionate about the idea. So if you can't answer, why is this important to you? Why do you want to do this? You do not deserve to get money. But there is a level of entitlement in this industry right now that is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting and reprehensible how some people take this opportunity. Take this seriously. Take this work seriously. When you take money from investors, take it seriously. Because there are people in the world who do not have the opportunity that you have. I'm absolutely mortified with some companies, even in my own portfolio, and how they think that they don't need to focus on what matters. And that's the second point about what matters as an angel investor. The first point is this deeply passionate? The second point is the person executing at a high level? Now, those two things do not guarantee that you will be successful. But boy, does it separate you from the 90% of tourists on the island. Because if you care passionately about your idea and you're executing at a high level, you may make contact with the ball. In other words, consumers, also known as customers, may actually pay you for your product or service, and they may actually stop and tell another person, you should try my product. But time after time, I work with founders, and I take pitches, and I have perfect deal flow. Everybody wants me as an angel investor. When you hit big home runs, everybody wants you as an angel investor because they flip the causation correlation formula. Everybody thinks that in some way I'm responsible for Uber, Thumbtack, or Wealthfront. I have zero responsibility for the success of those companies. I got lucky to weasel my way onto the cap table of those companies. I'm sure some of the founders would say, well, you've been helpful. Jason, you did this, you did that. Bullshit. Those companies would be as successful without me or Saka or any of the other angels who were involved in those early rounds. The success for those companies lies with the founder, the management team, and all the employees who work really hard. You cannot mix up this correlation as an angel investor. You cannot get high on your own supply, as the great entrepreneur of our lifetime said, Scarface. Point is, I get a ton of inbound. I see all the deals. I see too many deals. I can't sort through them all. And I look at the execution. What does it mean, execution? It does not mean your ideas. Your ideas mean nothing. Ideas are a dime a dozen. If you had $5 million ideas this year, 5 of them, or if you had $5 billion ideas this year, congratulations, you're just like everybody else. Everybody understands what the big opportunities are. You get no credit for that. It's all in the execution. And the execution is how you can tell the level of seriousness and the level of passion the entrepreneur has. It is the manifestation of the passion I talked about earlier. Because if you are passionate about seeing this change in the world, you will look at your god-awful design and say, oh my God, who put all those logos against a green background? Really? And why the fuck is startup.focus.pixelated? Who built this slide and didn't see that? This person does not execute well. They execute like a 5 or a 6. It's okay. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Probably a day. But I see that shit instantly. Why is that pixelated? Did somebody not see that? Because I see startups all the time. I understand good execution. If you're not paying attention to your net promoter score, how many people know what net promoter score is? Keep your hand up, because I'm going to ask one of you motherfuckers to define it. Who had their hand up? You just put it down. You put your hand down. Do you know what it is? You do? Go ahead. I'm listening. Let me hear it nice and clear. What is net promoter score?
People are sharing your startup. Yeah. The number, the average.
Oh my God, the average, the number. Fucking break over here. Net Promoter Score. How likely are you to recommend this product or service to your friends? 1 to 10. If you don't know what the fuck that is, leave the room and go study that. You need to understand, do people love your product or not? If you're not even taking the time to understand what your customers think of your product, why are you doing this? You scared little weasel tourist, get off the island. Honestly. And I meet people, I'm like, well, what's the Net Promoter Score? What do people think of the product? When's the last time you surveyed your users? They're like, we don't know who our users are. What? You're not using any type of tracking. You don't have any kind of CRM. You don't have any kind of database of what your users think of your product. You're not taking it seriously. Well, I've never done that before. You really took our money. You told us this is how the world should be. And your response to learning some new skill is, I haven't done it before. I hear this kind of nonsense. I haven't done it before. I don't know how to do that. Really? Let me Google that for you. How do you track NPS? All this knowledge is on the internet. I have founders come to me like, I'm going to Dubai to speak at this conference. I'm going to Dublin. I got selected. You got selected. Really? You got selected to go to Dublin. Okay? Who selected you? Oh, the Web Summit selected me. I'm going to Dublin. I was one of the top companies. Really? What's your question? You were selected to go to Dublin. Are any of your customers there? Well, we don't know who our customers are. Oh, right, I forgot. You don't track that. Okay, so you're going to Dublin. It's going to take a week of your time. It sounds like probably $5,000, $10,000 in travel costs. They're like, yeah, it's $5,000 or $10,000 travel costs. But here's the good news. They gave us half off our presentation. What? I'm sorry. You were selected? Yeah, but it's $6,000. I'm like, you're spending $6,000, wasting a week of time, and spending $5,000 to $10,000 on travel. You're spending $12,000 going there. Your customers aren't there. But did you say you got selected? Yeah, they selected us as one of the top companies. Well, if you're paying, you weren't actually selected. You bought it. Oh, is that right? Okay, got it. This is the shit that is not taking it seriously. Spending money on anything other than improving your product and your knowledge of your customer is so insanely stupid in the early stage. Listen, you're Elon Musk, you're Evan Williams, you've been successful, and you want to go give a keynote at a conference, or you want to go to TED, Mazel Tov, you earned it. If you're anybody else, if your company is not crushing it and growing 10%, 20% week over week, if you don't know how much you're growing, if you haven't identified what the metrics are, stay home. Stay home, put your head down, and understand your business. Take the work seriously. And if you're a mentor and you see entrepreneurs not taking the work seriously, and you don't stop them, then you are not a mentor. You are enabling the tourist culture in Silicon Valley right now. Stop these people and say, you took money from investors, you joined the incubator, please, let's get focused on what will make a successful outcome here, or just increase your chances of not coming back to me in 6, 9, or 12 months and saying, I'm out of money, can I have more? But I spent the last 3 months going to Dublin for Web Summit and Collision in New Orleans and paid all the money you gave me to some Irish kid who, is running conferences all over the world that are based off of tricking entrepreneurs into giving their angel money to him. Can I say it more clearly? Don't do this. Now, as an angel investor and as a mentor, well, let's say angel investor, your success is directly correlated with how much time you spend with founders. That's it. Your success will be based upon how much time you spend with founders. A lot of angel investors are out there going to TED, going to Dublin, going here, going there. Their Instagram looks like Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian. What the fuck are you angel investors doing on planes, going everywhere, speaking at every conference known to man, and not focusing on your startups? I see this because I go meet with my portfolio companies. I have them come to my incubator. I have them over for dinner. I go on hikes with them, ask them how it's doing. I say, hey, who's your best angel investor? They say, you. I said, oh, that's very nice, but really, who's really putting in the work? I want to know. I ask this question because I want to know who I should send deals to. I want to know who I should invite to invest in the companies I'm investing in. Well, they don't actually call. I haven't talked to him. Well, that's not the work either. This is another example of tourist culture on the other side of the table. We have angel investors investing in companies and then never talking to them again, never telling them to send me a weekly or monthly update. If you don't send your investors a weekly or monthly update, you are doing it wrong. Every time I get Jill's update from RushTix, I read it. And I like her more, and I like her business more, and I want to do more for her, and I want to invite her to more things because I go, oh, this person's doing the work. Oh, look, the NPS score is right there. Oh, it's week after week NPS score. I can glance at it and understand that at the very least, she's deploying the capital I gave her intelligently. I know she's driven. I wouldn't have given her money, but now I know that she cares and she's taking the work seriously. The work is serious for angels and investors as well. But I see many people not taking the work seriously. They don't ask the angels, don't ask the entrepreneurs, what's working? What's not working? What are you spending your time on? What did you accomplish this week? Tell me the 2 or 3 things that you're most focused on. These are the questions I ask people. And then you know what I do? I listen. Not an easy trait for a guy like me who likes to talk for a living. That's what I do. I talk for a living. I have a podcast. I'm CNBC. I'm a writer. I talk for a living. But when I'm with my entrepreneurs, I'm listening. And I'm listening to see, does this person deserve continued funding? Because once you make that exploratory bet, anybody here play poker? Raise your hand to play poker. Okay, good. Third of you, 25%. Poker, sometimes you do a feeler bet. 3 people in the hand, the flop has come down. I have dog shit. But I'm first to act. So fuck it, I'm going to bet $100. And I'm going to see if anybody else has anything. It's called the feeler bet. If I lose it, I lost $100. But if not, I may win this pot of 500. Feeler bet, just that's what 25K or 50K is. I have so many entrepreneurs who are so entitled. There's an incubator that breeds a little bit of this entitlement. It's called Y Combinator. You get accepted to Y Combinator, you feel like you got accepted to Harvard. You start mixing up the correlation causation I talked about earlier. Oh, Airbnb went here. Oh, Zenefits went here. Oh, this person went here. I will then be the next Airbnb or Dropbox. It doesn't work that way. You still have to do the work. You still have to take it seriously. Had one company refuse to give investors updates. I said, when are you running out of money? How much money are we making? They're like, well, we don't give that information out. And I'm like, I don't work for TechCrunch. I'm not doing a news story here. I invested in your company. And not only did I invest, my syndicate invested. I told other people to invest in you. Please keep people informed. Entrepreneurs, we're afraid it's going to leak. I said, okay, you're afraid that your revenue numbers, runway, all this stuff's going to leak. Nobody knows who you are. When's the last time you were covered in Wall Street Journal, TechCrunch, or New York Times? He said, when we had the funding announcement. I said, great. Any coverage since then? No. I said, if I could leak your information right now and get you a Wall Street Journal cover story, would you want me to do that? Because I could leak it to literally leak it to the Wall Street Journal and tell them they should cover it. But I don't think they would. But if theoretically I leaked your information and it got you in the Wall Street Journal, would you be excited? I said, yeah. I said, well, what are we talking about here? You just told me the reason you're not giving your investors information is you're afraid of a leak. I just told you if I leaked it, and you said you would absolutely endorse me leaking the information. They're like, yeah, well, we talked to some other people on the Y Combinator list, and they said we shouldn't do that. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Really? This idea that Y Combinator spread, that giving investors information, reasonable valuations, and that the investor should get to know you, this very weird culture has emerged. And a lot of it has to do with the Y Combinator culture, which sort of pits the investors and the entrepreneurs against each other in this demo day battle. Get this experience, I go to demo day before I was banned for talking about demo day. Anyway. we have our disagreements, but you go to demo day, click I want to meet the company, company sends me the term sheet, sends me a DocuSign. I said I want to take a meeting. They sent me a DocuSign for 100K. They said, yeah, just click the sign button, we put 100K in there, but you could change it. I said, I don't know you. Here's my assistant. Why don't you come by the office in the next couple of weeks and we'll sit and we'll spend an hour getting to know each other. They said, oh, the round's going to close. I said, good luck. They said, oh, well, can you meet this week? I said, I just told you, talk to my assistant. I can meet maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. Come by. They said, oh, the round's going to be closed. I said, okay, good luck. They're in the office 3 weeks later. They haven't closed their round. I said, how's the round going? You said it was closing 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay, how much are you raising at? We're raising at $8 million. I said, okay. How much data do you have? How long is the product in the market? Well, we've got a pilot going. It's been in the market for 6 weeks. I said, okay. How much money are you making? Nothing. Okay, how'd you get those customers? Like, whatever, what Facebook gets. Okay. $8 million valuation. Okay, yeah. But it was 10, right? The valuation was 10? Yeah, we brought it back down to 8 because we just thought, we wanted to make it a better deal for investors. I said, when I invested in Thumbtack and Uber, it was $9 million. He says, yeah, but this is only like 1 million. We only wanted 1 million more, and now it's 1 million less. I said, oh, no, I didn't finish the sentence. Combined. Thumbtack, Uber, 5 and 4 million. Combined was the price you're asking for. You are no Travis. You are no Marco. You are delusional. I said, who's the lead? They said, you're the lead. We want you to be the lead. I said, if I'm the lead, I'm setting the price. It's not this price. This is an insane price. And this is the tourist culture that's been promoted here. I don't blame Y Combinator for this. They happen to be the Harvard of the space. So there is a breeding of this entitlement, and that's why a lot of people have come out and said, hey, this high pressure that the Y Combinator process puts on founders to raise money, compete with each other, to try to, just raise money at all costs in this 2-week pressure cooker. Meanwhile, Y Combinator is letting a bunch of investors in weeks 3, 4, and 5 to cherry pick, right, Dave? True or not true? We don't want to say. Dave gives a shit what Y Combinator thinks about him. He doesn't want to get banned. Kiss the ring, exactly. Not me. Not in my DNA. Sorry, Dave. You can kiss the ring, though. Kiss it twice. Once for me, okay? But people here in this industry, Silicon Valley, they're a bit of sycophants. They would knock their grandmother over to get into a deal once you have traction. I give the credit to the people who really can identify the people who are passionate and who are executing at a high level. Design, sales, UX, hiring, just all kinds of ways to understand if a person is executing at a high level. And then, for you as a founder, it's really about this relentless storytelling of here's how we believe the world should be, and here's our progress tracking towards that world. Met a guy in Los Angeles. He was hanging out with Hideo in Russia, looking at rocket ships. Wanted to buy some rocket ships and put a, what was that insanely stupid idea? He wanted to put plants in space. Is that right?
Mice or plants?
Yeah, I wanted to put mice or plants. People get a little nutty. He had invested in a car company that was selling a $130,000 car that cost $160,000 to make. And I said, Elon, how's that going? He's like, I'm going to have to fire the founders and actually go in and reboot this and take over as CEO because they're selling roadsters at $160,000 instead of, and we're selling them for $130,000. They're costing $160,000. He's been public about this. I'm not speaking out of school. I wouldn't put a private conversation out there, but he's been very public about this. And really, if you look at the Tesla story, the original pitch was, hey, then the people who bought that first car, the first 100 signature Tesla Roadsters, and then eventually I think they sold maybe 1,500 of those. The people who bought that car were people who wanted to see the world become not dependent on fossil fuels. That sound like a good venture investment to you? We're selling to people who are willing to pay 3 times as much for a Mazda Miata or a Lotus with electric batteries that go 150 miles, 180 miles. And it's a pretty uncomfortable ride. And yeah, you might get us off foreign oil. People buy it for the geopolitical impact and the people who believe in global warming. That was the start of the Tesla story. All of these stories start out very, very awkward. It's okay to be awkward in the beginning. But if you see somebody executing at the level Elon was executing at, then all of a sudden opportunities emerge. So while Elon's vision was, hey, let's get off fossil fuels, let's move off of carbon, let's stop greenhouse gases, there was a moment when you got into a roadster and you drove it and you said, my God, the acceleration in here is insane. And then when I would take people for rides, in Roadster number 16, Signature number 16, nobody cared about the batteries. I mean, it was interesting that you plugged it in, but what they really cared about was, my God, the pickup on this thing is insane. I'm pinned to the seat. This is amazing. But the Model S, now you had a bunch of other features that were really nice. Safety, the front trunk, the jump seats in the back. He started adding on an execution level, little piece after little piece that made it notable. And then, instead of 98% of people thinking Elon would fail, when he showed the Model S, only 87% of people thought he would fail. Congratulations. The number of people who thought he would succeed went like 6x, from 2 to 16%, or 8x. And now, with the Model 3 at 35,000 and selling 400,000 of them, now, oh God, 90% of people think the company is going to succeed. There's still 10, 20% of people who are out there still saying this company is going to fail. It's inevitable, it's going to fail. I mean, what more does he have to show? It's the world's highest rated car ever. The NPS score, somebody look it up right now and yell it out to me. I think it's like 85 or 80 or something. And the NPS score of the iPhone is like 60. That's like the next one. Somebody look it out and scream it out. Model S, listen, there's a little owner bias there. If you spend 100 grand on a car, you might want to think you're smart for buying it. It's one of the things about NPS score. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it's going to be awkward, and the reasons of why people might engage your product early on are going to be different over time. And what you're trying to do as an entrepreneur, and what you're trying to do as a mentor of entrepreneurs, is to keep people executing at a high level towards the goal. And that's how the story unfolds. And the Tesla story continues unfolding. 9626. 96 is the NPS score for the Tesla. It's a score that's never happened before, put it that way. Literally, it's kind of fucking with these Harvard wonks who created the NPS score. They're like, something must be wrong with the formula. It's a pretty simple formula, folks. How much time do I have, Adele? Because I only have about 45 minutes left. I got 45 minutes left.
Do you want to take some questions in a moment?
I'll take questions in a moment. But I want to talk just for a minute about what matters. What matters at the end of the day. What matters at the end of the day is that people take the opportunity seriously and that they add skills. The number one skill for entrepreneurs is the ability to acquire new skills. Say that one more time. The number one skill of entrepreneurs today is acquiring new skills. The world is not static. It is highly dynamic. What worked as an entrepreneur 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it is not what works today. Things are moving very fast. Some companies used to be based on sales culture. Some companies used to be based on design. Some companies used to be based on the ability to raise money, get contracts with the government, monopolistic practices, building moats. Really, things are so dynamic right now, and our industry has matured so much, and there is so much money and so many big players with so many big ambitions that you have to be truly multi-skilled. And it's not just because Google or Facebook are going to come into your space. They are going to, if there's anything there, of course. It's that a number of people who are coming into entrepreneurship, and the skill level of these young people is so high and their ability to learn is so great, I'm talking about the good ones, that the competitive nature of the industry and the number of people in it has become pretty zero-sum. And people don't like to use that term. And Silicon Valley is very like hippie granola, summer of love, San Francisco. Oh my God, there could be a ton of players in a market, and oh my God, there's so many different opportunities out there. It is actually a zero-sum game. Spoiler alert, life is a zero-sum game. There's like a finite amount of opportunity out there. Everybody likes to believe there's like, oh my God, no, there's an infinite amount of opportunity. Bullshit. Like, you can only hold one phone in your hand. This guy's got 2 cameras, whatever. But the number of people who need 2 SLRs is a narrow field of people, right? Like, you're gonna need 1 phone. You're going to use 5 apps a month. You're going to use Lyft, or you're going to use Uber. And you're going to pick one of them, and if one of them asks you to put your credit card in again, you're probably going to delete the other app and never open it again. That's the amount of friction to lose a customer. Making them log in again. Like literally, it's like, oh, I have to log in again? Fuck it, I'm not using this app anymore. It is hard out there. And you need to be able to acquire skills quickly. That's what I focus on. Myself personally, I try to acquire skills faster and faster and faster and learn this shit. And I try to tell people in my incubator and people I've invested in, take the time to learn all these new skills, because this next generation, there's a lot of things you can say about millennials. There's a lot of ways you can deride them. Entitled, sure. Mission-driven to the point of sometimes a little bit loopy, yes. Unwilling to commit to like a lease or owning a car. Arrested childhood, they want to play kickball and whatever, and have snuggle parties. It's weird stuff, but what you see in this television show, Girls. Anybody watch the show Girls? Who watches Girls? Anybody watch? Come on, you can admit it. I'm admitting I watch it. I hate watch it. Because every time it's that you should really watch the show Girls, because it gives you a really good insight into millennials. Whatever decision they could make in the moment, whatever the plot point is, I just think to myself, what's the worst decision I would ever make? Then I think, what's the worst decision anybody would ever make? And then Marnie does something even worse. Right? Like, this is what young people do. They make stupid decisions, right? But this group of entrepreneurs, this other group of millennials who are mission-driven and who understand how to do skills, man, they're animals. Because remember my point before, this has to have personal meaning to you. Well, if you like personally care about the migrant workers in China and like making sure that their transition from the rural economy to the urban economy, like, okay, fine, like go work for a nonprofit. But when somebody gets it dialed in and they really care about connecting every single person on the planet, or whatever project they happen to be working on, boy, can they be motivated. And if they are so fearless about acquiring skills, they can be super dynamic. And that's what I look for. I'm not afraid of the millennial culture. I think actually if you point them in the right direction, if you have this incredible intensity of mission, and that mission happens to parallel with making money, that's really my only gripe, is a lot of times they have this mission and they just think making money is like a bad thing. Making money is a great thing. Make as much money as you can. The day I was talking about it not being about the money. Money is good, because money allows you to deploy resources towards a goal. Elon Musk could not do the incredible projects he's doing without the money. Google couldn't do the projects without the money. They found a money engine first, and then they deployed their money for good later. Bill Gates as well, right? He's going to do more with the Gates Foundation than he did ever with Microsoft. I'll just leave you with, take the work seriously. Don't act entitled. Understand your customers. Focus on what matters. And I'd love to take a couple of questions. Thanks for having me.
Woo!